morning. Good morning. In case you think I look a little puffy and red in the face, the answer is yes, I have a bad reaction to sunshine. And it was so sunny yesterday in Scotland in February that I've had a little bit of sun damage and I'm swelling up slightly like a strawberry. Bit of antihistamine and I'll be as right as rain. So, where are we this week? Well, the first thing is hat tip to Chris Hughes of Embark Chemical Consulting. ECHA have finally published the questions and answers around the new hazard classes webinar that they ran before Christmas last year, which I think is going to be very useful. There's a lot of questions and answers there. And if you're grappling with these new hazard classes, it's a good thing to do. Of course, you may also want to know what was in the webinar itself. And the answer is, I will put the link here, because of course, all of the webinars that they run, ECHA put up. Yes, this is from the 21st of November. So you've got the full range of information there. So that's the first thing I wanted to talk to you about. Now, the second thing is, again, something that's happening with ECHA, but I believe it's actually a marker for what's going very wrong with CLP and obviously with GHS as well. So there is a consultation at the moment on ethanol as a biocide at ECHA. And the reason that it's being consulted on is they're looking for substitutes for it, right? And the reason they're looking for substitutes is because there is a proposal to classify ethanol as a carcinogen and reprotoxin. Now, that's all well and good because we know that it has these hazardous properties, but these hazardous properties are not part of the risk profile for normal industrial or indeed domestic use, including as a biocide. These carcinogen and reprotoxin properties are caused when people deliberately ingest ethanol as a foodstuff to excess over long periods of time. Or they ingest it when they're particularly vulnerable. For example, the ethanol can cross the placenta and you can have fetal alcohol syndrome in babies, which is just tragic for all concerned. So by applying these hazards, which are inapplicable to ethanol used as a chemical or as a biocide, I think it's a misstep. If you consider the amount of ethanol that is absorbed directly when someone drinks a large amount of whiskey, for example, compared to the exposure that someone gets from using a ethanol biocidal hand sanitizer, even at the height of COVID, when we were using it like 20 times a day, I don't believe that the exposure to alcohol is at a level where these risks might occur. Now, obviously, if you're a toxicologist, you might go, that's rubbish and I can prove it. Well, go ahead, prove it. Because I don't think that the risk, which is the hazard times the exposure, is anywhere near the orders of magnitude of someone who is an alcoholic and drinking a lot of spirits, for example. So this is a problem with CLP, and it's also the problem with GHS. If you have a hazard-based system and you don't pay any attention to the risks of it in practical use, you end up with something that is, in my view, going to be overclassified for the context of use that it is in. And this is something that is a problem with GHS. It's a problem with CLP because it's based on GHS. And it was not a problem under DSD, DPD, Dangerous Substance Directive, Dangerous Preparation Directive, in the UK known as CHIP. Things are getting a bit silly now. Ethanol as a biocide has so much to recommend it. It's antiviral. It was very useful during COVID, whether or not you think that we went overboard, and maybe we did, but at the time people were doing their best on the information they had. So how ethanol works is it attacks the lipid wall of certain viruses. Okay, not every virus has a lipid wall. Noroviruses don't, for example. I believe, are they RNA viruses? So they don't have that lipid wall, so ethanol doesn't affect them adversely. But for other viruses, like coronavirus or the common cold or whatever, they've got a lipid layer, ethanol comes along, dissolves that, bang, virus is inactivated, it's killed. So it's cheap. We understand how to make it safely most of the time. It's readily available, it's fully biodegradable, and it does not get resistance. Can anybody beat that as a hand sanitizer, for example? And it's also used as a hard surface cleaner in certain contexts. It will be interesting to find out. And I think we are making a mountain out of a molehill. And the problem is, by focusing on ethanol in this way, it detracts from other things that are actually far more important. So anyway, I will get off my puffy-faced soapbox and let's get on with the reasons to be cheerful. They're absolutely cracking this week. It's a compilation from Father Ted. My personal favourite is, of course, the classic. These are small, but those are far away. So let me just leave you with that today. Thank you ever so much for watching. Oh, and by the way, if you've liked this, remember you can always sign up to Chemicals Coffee Time itself. Bear with me while I pick up the link for you. Oh, I'm very tired. I didn't get back in till 10 o'clock last night. Car broke down. It's a really long story, but thank you very much to Hunters of Linlithgow who managed to prioritise us. So yes, if you would like to sign up to our weekly email newsletter, I'm just putting the link below this video now. So have a lovely weekend. I hope you haven't got the fog like we have. And take care of yourselves. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.